think the T-Man might disagree with you, man. Actually, do you think he ever imagined that his masterpiece, Tony Hawk Pro Skater, would be used for philosophical conquest?
Probably.
He strikes me as the kind of dude that the answer is probably yes, right? The OG ones, it was like, pick a target, have a goal. Fucking, we're gonna be ripping for 2 minutes, dog. Like,
so it's like I was playing Tony Hawk. You ever played that old game? Tony Hawk Pro Skater?
did I ever play? We played it together. We played every version. Yeah.
Have you ever played it recently? Or have you played it recently?
I think I loaded it up, I think 6 months ago for the OG Tony Hawk, the first one.
Oh, like the original, huh?
Yeah.
Oh, wow. No, they have a remake with 1 and 2 put together and 3 and 4 put together.
Yeah. Do you have that?
Yeah.
How is it?
Yeah, it's good. It's like the old one with more stuff now, but it's like the same levels and everything. It's just cleaned up and looks good on a PS5.
Yeah. Does it feel good?
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, I've been playing it a lot actually. I've gone through when I first started, I wasn't able to play it at all anymore, and it was kind of funny because I couldn't do anything in the game.
Yeah.
And now I'm better than I ever was when I was a kid.
Doesn't take long, right?
No. I just play it when I get home from work right before we eat dinner, I'll play it for 20 or 30 minutes.
It's nice. I will say one thing I like about those old games, especially Tony Hawk, was, and I totally forgot about this when I loaded it up the other day, is that the missions are all 2 minutes. I mean, there might be a free skate thing or an open world thing in some of the later ones, but the OG ones, it was pick a target, have a goal. Fucking, we're gonna be ripping for 2 minutes, dog.
Yeah.
Which is nice because then if you have other stuff to do, you can just, just 2 minutes and then go do something else and pick it back up. Yeah. So it's very approachable, I guess. I miss that.
Yeah.
Dude, that was the problem I was having the other night. I'd finished putting in all my job applications for the day. I was just tired of looking at forums, and I was like, I'm going to play a game. And I just started going through my Steam library. I was like, well, okay, well that's 40-hour game. That's a 60-hour game. That's going to take a month or something. I was like, and I tried booting up an Assassin's Creed that I'd never played or something. And I was playing Black Flag. Did you ever play that?
Yeah. That was one of the better ones for sure.
Yeah, and I was like, I just want to go sailing, be on a ship, hear some songs, And I loaded it up.
The pirate shanties.
Yeah, and it was 2.5 hours, and I'm still just on the island, just pretending to be a dude. I don't even have a ship yet, and I'm like, I gotta go to bed, dude, and get to the fun part, man. But yeah, I don't know.
The casual games. You want to go that direction?
Yeah, but I also don't want to play a game on my phone or something.
No, I meant there's casual games you can play on PS5. You have a PS5, so you have?
No, it's all computer. It's all I got.
Okay. Well, then you have infinite.
Yeah, it's
options there.
You'd think it'd be a solution to that problem. It's not. Yeah.
Have you seen the new game that's came out recently?
Which one?
Crimson Desert.
Oh, yeah, I heard some people were pissed off because what was it? Oh, it's because they don't support Intel GPUs at all. And they didn't tell anybody until it came out. They're like, sorry, but do you remember those Intel came out with the Arc series that kind of budget friendly and pretty good. It's a couple of years ago, but they just don't support them. But why? What's up?
No, I was just curious. It's the new one. I contemplated. I was looking at it. I'm like, yep, because I could see the 1 to 200 hours.
Yeah,
and I'm like, yep. I think I'm not going to do this one.
Yeah. No, it's a very intentional choice. Like,
Yeah.
it's funny you say that because I've been watching a lot of I've been having a lot of like Skyrim and Oblivion content, just kind of playing in the background while I'm doing stuff, and I forgot how much fun those janky ass games are, dude. Just spend like an hour crouch running into a wall next to a rat, and get your sneak
To
skill up
get
or
your
something.
sneak up, yeah.
Yeah.
Eli
It's
was
been
playing
fun.
Skyrim earlier.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Dude, did they? They didn't come out with a remaster, right? They just
No, that was Oblivion.
okay. Yeah, they really don't need to. There's so many mods for Skyrim that make it look
Yeah.
amazing. You know. Yeah, you really
Yeah.
don't need to.
Yeah, I think everyone just wants them to come out with the next one. It's
Skyrim 2.
Hammerfell, I think.
Oh, yeah.
Yes. You know, it's Elder Scrolls 6. Just
Yeah.
everyone's waiting for it. It's been a long time. It's been 14 years, 15 years since Skyrim came out.
Yeah, it was like
and they
2000.
haven't made another Elder Scrolls game yet.
That's great.
It's like a running joke. You know, it's a running joke on YouTube. People talk about it and stuff.
I just forgot that it had been 12 years, I guess.
Well, it was 2011, and so it's actually 15 years.
Shut up.
And well, I mean, everyone's going to play GTA 6, so it's not that big of a deal. That's Rockstar, though, right? So
yeah.
I mean, I'm definitely going to play that one, or you know, like I know that one's going to take my time. So
yeah,
I already got it blocked out.
I don't know.
You're gonna play it?
I don't know. I missed the train on GTA 5. Like, I just never played it. You know?
Really? Oh,
yeah.
Wow.
Well, and then I was intimidated because, you know, like it would progress so far. And you know, when games get to that point where it's like, if you buy it now, it's like on a sale, and they'll also throw in like all the starter pack stuff. So you have like, you know, high end stuff and gear and whatever. And so when you first load into a game and you're just like overwhelmed with all this like DLC and extra stuff that's just blowing up like your fucking virtual phone, and like, you know, it's not the same experience that you would have if you just raw dogged it at first. Yeah. So I don't know. I mean, it looks like a great game. I remember we used to play San Andreas all the time. We thought that was like the top tier, but never going to get better. Fucking, which now, I guess it has been a long time, huh? I don't know. That's my other problem.
What? It's been a long time.
Well, is it my experience with games is like, if I'm going to sit down and play a game, I'm going to play it for like 12 or 16 hours, you know?
Yeah.
It's like, and I think that comes from when we used to play like Ocarina of Time or something, you know? And it's like, that's what we were doing for the day, you know?
Yeah.
But what were you saying?
Oh, no, GTA. I mean, have you seen the previews for GTA 6?
I saw someone freaking out about liquid in a beer bottle being mobile. Yeah.
Yeah.
I haven't seen much more than that, though.
It looks pretty wild. I'm really interested to see how the AIs behave, because they have like way more immersive AI now.
Yeah.
And they can the AI can like respond to what you're doing in real time, and they'll pull out their phones and record you doing crimes and then post it on the in-game social media. You could become notorious that way.
That's kind of
crazy, right? Yeah. And they'll remember you also. They have memories. So if you do something to an NPC, they'll remember that if you ever meet them again.
You know, okay, that is probably about due time for them to integrate into Rockstar games, especially because they've had that in I guess they don't have it in Elder Scroll games. I don't know. I guess they've only ever had like forking paths with like Mass Effect and stuff like that.
The only game that comes to mind with memories is like where NPCs have memories is like Mordor, that Mordor game.
Oh, Shadow of Mordor?
Shadow of Mordor, yeah.
Yeah.
That's the one I know of, that NPCs, like you turn them into somebody, right? And then
Yeah, the Nemesis system.
Nemesis, yeah.
Yeah, that was huge. Oh, man, it was a great system. Yeah, a lot of people were pissed off that it was a proprietary system, though. And I was like, I mean, it can't be that hard to jive one up yourself, right? But
I don't know.
I don't know either. But no, that was like its claim to fame. It's a Nemesis. You know, speaking of games, I think like a month ago, no, 4 months ago, I went back and I decided I wanted to start 100%ing just games that I was close to that were like in my list. Again, because I didn't want to spend like 100 hours on a new series.
Yeah.
Just looking for stuff to clean up. And that was the first one on my list. It's like 100% Shadow of
Mortar.
Yeah.
Like what kind of 100%? Like you get the platinum trophy, or just like you beat the whole game and all the
on
side
PS5,
quests?
yeah, platinum trophy. On Steam,
That's
it's just
crazy.
Steam yeah.
I've never platinumed any game ever. I might do it with Tony Hawk just because I've been playing it so much and I've done essentially everything you can do.
That sounds like it would be, well, I guess the first two I imagine would be, well, I don't know. So did they integrate the new features like because like in the original Tony Hawk, you couldn't like get off your board and you couldn't like
get off your board. It's just like the old games.
Is it? Okay.
Yeah, gameplay's the same. I think mostly. Yeah, I'm like there's like over 20 or 30 characters, and I've 100% the game with each of them, all their challenges completed. I've done basically everything. There's just like a lot of like little things left, and then I could probably get the platinum on that. And then I've also speedran some of the levels. I tried speedrunning the first level in the official. So in the in-game speedrun scoreboard, there's like impossibly good scores, and I'm pretty sure people are cheating. But the online verified speedruns, I kept doing it, and then when I beat whoever was in the 100th place, right? I was like, oh, that's pretty good if I'm in the top 100 in the world. I didn't submit it or anything, but my time was better than that time. So I'm like, okay.
Yeah.
And then I kind of, but maybe I'll go back to the speed running at some point. But yeah, I'm not doing it for, that's actually what I was going to say earlier. It was like, we went in another direction, but it's like you don't play the game to do those things. You know what I mean? Like that's not, they're more of a consequence of, I'm not saying you don't want to, right? But when you have a goal like that, it's like, if my goal was to platinum Tony Hawk, I would probably get sick of playing it. And then when I reached platinum, I wouldn't want to play it anymore,
Yeah.
But I just like playing it. You know what I mean?
Well, so 2 things I'll say about that. One is the first playthrough on any game, I don't even look at the achievements list, like, because I don't want to be tainted by some, I mean, it's basically a side quest, right?
Yeah.
So I just go into a raw, just take the experience as it is, as intended, But after I've played it like 2 or 3 times, then I'm like, if I'm ready to hang up a game and uninstall it from my system, that's when I'll go to 100%. Like Dark Souls. I'm a huge Dark Souls fan. I used to play it all the time. And again, it was just sitting there. It was like, I've done like everything in this game. And it was like, how do I not
Elden Ring?
What's that?
Elden Ring too, or?
I started it, but it's a big game. So I've
Dark
got
Souls
it.
Is your...
Oh, are you saying like, are they the same kind of like brand?
Aren't they?
Yeah, they're both from Software.
Okay, yeah. I thought they were. That's what I was just asking, but yeah. I actually don't even really know what Dark Souls is. I mean, I've heard of it over and over and over and over again, but I've never seen any gameplay or tried to play it.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, dude, it's great. And it's, what it's like known for, right?
Being hard.
Yeah, just like being brutal. And
yeah, that's what everyone says. Yeah.
By today's standards, it's less like when it first came out, it was literally the hardest game on the fucking planet, and it was confusing and like, I don't know, looking back on it, you can kind of be like, oh yeah, it all makes sense when you know everything, But no, just going into it, nothing makes sense. You don't even know where you are half the time, But by today's standards, I wouldn't even call it that hard. It's more just punishing if you messed up, But anyways, it's standard like RPG classes and some extras and stuff. And I was like, well, okay, I beat the game with like every class. I think I've taken like every unique route, and I know a bunch of secrets and stuff. And I was still only at like 70% completion. And I was like, I'm probably never going to pick this game up again unless I try to be a speedrunner or something like that. So I'm just going to go for 100%. And doing that, I've got no problem. Just like the game's dead to me. This is my job now. I'm locked in. I just want the badge, man.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I think right now only Dark Souls and Shadow of Mordor are the only two that I've actually 100% because it takes damn long. I've got a buddy in the military that his pastime is platinuming games.
Yeah.
And I think he's insane because he'll do exactly what I was saying not to do, which is like he'll look at a game, look at its achievement list, look at a guide on how to do it in like the quickest amount of time or one shot it,
Yeah.
And then he's done with the game, And I'm like, dude, that's such a waste.
He gets a platinum in one run?
Sometimes. Some games.
Wow.
When you can, yeah.
Wow.
But nah, it's crazy. Like
one playthrough, I mean, just like
yeah,
that's crazy.
And it'll be hard.
I mean, what do you want to do though? It's like, what do you want? If that's what you want, then that's not a bad idea. But
yeah, and
I'm more of like, yeah. I mean, if that was like my thing, I could see doing that. That's not a bad approach.
Yeah, but I also think, I don't know. I've also got a problem with modding a game before I've completely like beaten it.
Yeah.
Because then it's like, well, I'm not going to get any achievements on a modded game, right? So, so let's do everything first before I make it crazy, But yeah, that's where I stand on that.
Yeah.
So
yeah, I like yeah. But the whole journey that I had with playing Tony Hawk, that was sort of like what was so I started out just not being able to do it at all. And then now I'm like way better than I ever was.
Uh-huh.
And so I've been using that as a metaphor a lot because my kids also watched me do that,
Mm-hmm.
And so I use that as like a way to explain like, we tend to like, if things feel too hard, we'll sort of immediately feel like we're not going to be able to do it, or like we're just not, or if we try a few times and it doesn't work. Yeah. If you looked at a baby that was trying to walk and you had no context, did I say this last time?
Yes.
Okay. I'm not going to say it again then.
You could say this. If you looked at a baby that was trying to play Tony Hawk and they can't even do an ollie, man.
Right. So it's like they
can't even do a 50-50.
It's very easy to just start thinking, okay, I can't do this. Yeah, but you can. And then suddenly if you just keep going and you keep moving in that direction, you just get a lot better really quickly. Usually, I mean, quickly, respectively, right? But what can get in the way is like having all of these things that you think you're supposed to achieve. And that's sort of what I was saying. Like, and it doesn't even mean that like, for example, if I only wanted to do the achievements and then that's all I was trying to do, that doesn't even mean that I can't do that or something like that. It just means that like, how am I actually treating myself while I'm doing it? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And like what's going on emotionally about what I'm doing.
Yeah. I think it's also a good tool to just kind of take stock in what you're doing again, because especially with something like playing a game, it's a lot more obvious, I feel like, in academic pursuits, but like when you're playing a game and you just try to do the same thing like 8 times in a row, and you're just kind of like mind-numbingly going through it, and you're like, I got to try 100 times before I'm convinced this way won't work,
Yeah.
Maybe that's why I'm starting to realize why it takes me so long to play games.
Yeah.
Maybe. But yeah. No.
I think that's like some of the most valuable things you can do though.
What's that?
That 100 time try this thing.
Iteration.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's not really working.
Mm-hmm.
I was doing that last night and yesterday. I was trying to do one thing for the last like couple of days.
On Tony Hawk?
Uh-huh.
And what were you trying to do?
There's a bridge gap on Burnside, the Portland skate park.
Okay.
You remember like it has like a bowl and stuff. Anyways, there's a gap where you have to go over I forgot what they're called, but like a ramp basically, and then go over the bridge, and it's actually kind of hard. But then you have to do 8 specials, no more than 8 not special, 8 tricks and get 40,000 points with, and it was just a little hard. Like, it's probably the hardest challenge for any of the skaters in the whole game. At least from the ones I've done, almost every single character, all the challenges. And that was the hardest one. But I wasn't like losing it, and I just kept trying it. I knew like I was going to figure it out, you know what I mean? And it didn't really even matter. It was just like, I'm just doing this. It's fine. That's what I'm going to do. And if I got tired of doing it, then I just turn it off, say I'll try it later. You know what I mean? And that works really well for learning. I've done things like that in the past and really, really wanted that achievement, right? And really, really wanted something, or not necessarily in games, but just I really, really wanted whatever it was I was trying to do. And so I would get very frustrated, right? And go through these large emotional swings. And then I would, a lot of the time, not want to do it anymore. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And lose interest. And it was because I was telling myself that I needed to have that done. Like, I needed to do this. I needed to do it right. And I wasn't able to do it right. And it was just a lot of emotional friction. I would either blame the game or blame myself or whatever.
Yeah.
Or both. But now I don't care. And I'm just like, it's fine. Like, oh, you know. I mean, it is a game that I don't care about, right? Like, it's not an important part of life, right? But it becomes a metaphor for the other things, right?
Speak for yourself. I think the T-Man might disagree with you, man. Actually, do you think he ever imagined that his masterpiece, Tony Hawk Pro Skater, would be used for philosophical conquest?
Probably. He probably uses it.
Yeah. He strikes me as the kind of dude that the answer is probably yes, right?
Yeah. He still skates.
I know. Yeah.
Yeah. Like, he's still good.
I'm pretty sure at his house, it's like a fucking it's like a
he has a skate park, indoor skate park at his house.
Yeah, I can't remember what it was. Yeah, it's like a Willy Wonka fucking got to skate to the bathroom to fucking how you keep it, man.
Yeah, he actually, we started skateboarding too, actually. Everybody in the whole family. Yeah, this year every year we kind of like, we will go do something a lot. Mm-hmm. It's been like disc golf, soccer, just what have you, swimming or whatever. And we'll go do it multiple times a week. But this year everybody has skateboards and we're all learning how to skate.
Dope. That's great.
Yeah. We spent like 2 hours at the skate park this morning, actually.
You know, it's also good for learning how to fall down a lot and be cool about it, you know? Because you remember when we got a skateboard at the house back when we were kids and we were trying to figure it out in our unfinished basement? And we ended up putting like a huge hole in the drywall because it went shooting out. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, we went through a phase for a minute. Maybe it was me and Brittany. I'm not sure. But I'm pretty sure that seems like a you thing, though.
I used to skateboard for like a year or two when I was a teenager.
Okay.
And then there was the rollerblading when we lived in that one neighborhood.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, dude. We used to rollerblade all over the place. We went to a skate park once. Yeah. I showed up with rollerblades like a dork. And do
you remember my friend Adam?
Sounds familiar.
Lived down the road.
Yeah, I'm thinking
he ended up becoming, I think, an actual professional rollerblader. Professional, you know what I mean? Yeah. And so that was why I got into it. And then when I moved in with my dad, then I started skateboarding with some of my other friends.
Nice.
Yeah, I was never very good. Actually, you know what's funny is this morning I did the highest vert I've ever done on a skateboard today.
You were on a vert?
Well, we were on a little half pipe. And I wasn't like dropping in or anything, but you know, you just start in the middle and then push up and then go back up and down, right?
Sure. Yeah.
And I got higher than I've ever been because I never even tried when I was a kid because I was scared of half pipes. Yeah. I did a rollerblade one sometimes. I could do them on rollerblades. Not drop in. I was always too afraid to drop in, but I could go up and down on them.
It's crazy how much fear. Like, I'm not afraid of heights, right? Like, I can stand on the ledge of something, be totally fine. I can be up in the sky. I can skydive. I'm totally fine. Staying on the edge of a vert ramp,
scary as shit.
It's scary as hell, dude. I don't know
You're
what
like, I know I'm going to fall.
yeah. Yeah.
And that's
No.
really what it is, because you know you're going to fall the first time.
Yeah. Probably.
It's going to take a while for you. That's why this time I'm like, I'm just going to get comfortable going up and down this thing.
Yeah.
And I had never thought of doing that before, I think, when I was a kid. So that's sort of actually what I'm talking about. It's like, because you have this thing that you think you're supposed to be able to do it. And it's like, you can't do that. You don't know how to do it. You're going to fall. 100%. You're going to try it and you're going to fall. And that's what's going to, and that's okay. It's fine to not be good at it. Right. And so we kind of need to let ourselves be, I need to let myself be not like really bad at something. Right.
Yeah.
And not care that I'm bad at it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And actually, it's not even, it's just sort of a silly way to even think about the whole thing. Whether you're good or bad at something's foolish, because, you know, like, you don't look at kids playing and be like, they really fucking suck at that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
They don't give a shit. They're having fun and they'll figure it all out and they'll be a better skater than you in a year. You know what I mean? It's like,
yeah.
So anyways, yeah, I just like got up there and I was like, what helps a lot, like tremendously, is to just do something that you know that you can probably try to do, right? Immediately. Yeah. And so I got on the ramp thing as an example, and I was just like pushing back and forth, you know, and getting my feet on there, right? And then I was like, I can probably just get to the where it starts curling up a bit, and then like I'll just barely go at all, right? And then I'll try to ride it back down, and I fell 3 times, and then I got it. And then I could do it. And then I was doing it over and over and over again. And I was pivoting and going to the other side and then going down and pivoting, not very high. You would have seen it and you'd have been like, he's not doing shit.
Yeah.
But to me, it was like, I'm like, okay. You know?
Yeah, you're wrestling the wave, dude. You're riding the beast. Yeah.
And then Jaden and Vanessa are all doing it too, and Eli too. Eli is fucking a little scary because he's got no helmet and he just walks up to the half pipe because we're all doing that, and he just goes up to the top of the thing and gets his board there, and he's like, all right. And I'm like, Eli, you don't have a helmet, you're not going to do that.
Yeah, you're not doing that.
And he's like, I can do it. And I was like, if you're going to do it, come over here. And then I brought him to the side, and then it was a small half pipe. And I was like, okay, I'm going to hold your hand. And then he immediately was like, oh, fuck. No, as soon as he like wasn't holding anything, you know, he's like, okay, no, I'm not going to do this. But then later on, he goes to the top of the freaking staircase where there's a sloping ramp into the half pipe. And he's like, all right, I'm going to do this one. And I'm like, you're not going to, because it's like a big long thing. And then it goes into the half pipe. And it was like, what are you going to do?
Okay. So it's just an approach to the half pipe drop.
Yeah, it's like a slope. Yeah. So there's a couple quarter pipes or whatever on the side, you know, and then there's a sloping ramp that goes to the half pipe lip. And so you could ride it down like that. And I'm like,
you're not talking about that thing, because I've seen it when I watch like X Games and stuff. I went through a huge like X Games skateboarding thing like 4 months ago too.
Oh, you did? That's cool.
Yeah, it was super recent. Yeah, like I would just
get a board and then we'll hang out next time.
Maybe. I'll wait for my disability to come in from my knee. No.
Okay.
I'll figure that out. I say it at a half iron, man. But
yeah. No, sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you. So the X Games?
Oh, right. Yeah, so they would always have, you know, the half pipe, and then they would have like a sloop off to the side of it. That was like or you could do like a rolling in.
Yeah, the rolling or whatever they're called. No. It was like it wasn't like that. It was like you have your half pipe, right? Just a regular half pipe, like right? Yeah. And then if you're looking at it like from the side, facing you over here are 2 quarter pipes. One's taller than the other. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And from that lip on the half pipe up to where the quarter pipes are, there's a little fucking roll, but then it drops straight down. It's not a roll in.
Okay.
Which would have been cool, actually. And maybe I'm even misremembering it because maybe it's just the 2 quarter pipes and they're by themselves. But either way, it was something he shouldn't have been doing. You know, it's like something that's little. And then I was like, shit, we're gonna have to go buy some fucking helmets, because this was actually our first day out at a skate park. We've been doing it for a while around here. Yeah. You know, just riding it and stuff. And we've had the boards. I had to buy Jaden. I bought him like kid version stuff that you can buy on Amazon for like $40 or whatever.
Yeah.
But it broke. It was because it's plastic trucks.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. And it just wasn't going to work right. So then I bought me and Jaden real boards. Eli's small enough that it doesn't matter, and I wasn't sure if Vanessa even wanted to, you know.
Yeah.
But she does, and then now I'm gonna have to buy her one because she's like she's so used to this crappy, you know, $40 one that when she got on Jaden's today, she was like, "It's too fast. I can't use it." I'm like, "No, that's a real skateboard. That's what they're actually like."
Yeah, you're gonna learn how to do that. Yeah.
Yeah, it's hers. Like it basically just goes like the bearings don't hurt. You know, it's like super. It's shitty. Right? It's a shitty board, so it doesn't feel right. But me and Jaden have real, and I can't use one of those because I break them. I'm too big, so I have to use a real board.
Yeah,
and really, but it's a lot of fun, I think.
Yeah, no, that's dope. I was gonna say, I remember in high school we had a ton of people that were into longboarding.
She wants a longboard, actually.
I was gonna say, and most of them were like our chick friends that were hanging out, and they just show up on their longboard. And be like, I don't know. It was a cool way of getting around. Not great on half the hills in Boise, because if you remember, there were a couple of neighborhoods where everybody lived, and there was just like such a steep hill into you know, and so you'd be going like 45 miles an hour or something. That is too fast, dude.
You know how we lived, the library was up the hill?
Yeah.
And then before that, when we lived in the first, one of the first, or not the first, but that one neighborhood where I don't even know how old you were when we moved. Maybe you were like 4 or 5, but that first neighborhood, that also had a hill going up to our house.
Hill up to our house. I don't remember
so
that.
You had to, like, on Cole Road, when you're going down Cole, and then you have to go up that little hill where the canal is. You know what I'm talking about?
Kind of. It's been a long time. Yeah.
Anyways, I have dreams, even not like this last couple of years, but like I've had dreams where like I can't get up hills. You know what I mean? Like I'm trying to get up hills and I just can't do it. Have you ever had that?
Up a hill? No, I've never had that.
Like you keep falling back down. Like you're trying to ride or something, you know, or whatever, and you just can't get up the hill. Like it's impossibly.
Yeah.
Yeah. Something like that, you know, where they're just like, they're like and they're the hills from our house, like, and they're massive and they're like impossibly hard to get up.
I mean, to be fair, that's how they felt. So
yeah, riding a bike up them. Yeah. It sucked riding a bike up, but then it was cool down.
It was pretty cool down, except that one time. Do you remember we were riding down? Maybe I didn't have anybody with me, but I was riding down, hauling ass, right? And just loving life. And someone threw a slushie out the window.
Oh, I remember this story. No, you were pretty pissed off. I remember this story.
Yeah.
How old were you? Why do I remember this?
I don't know. Maybe I was... Actually, I have no idea how old I was. I had a bike. It was a decent bike, so I must have been older. But yeah, I don't remember.
I know you've told me this story. Maybe I don't think I lived with you when it happened, but I know that I've heard the story.
Maybe not. Yeah, but I just remember because I saw it. Like I fucking, I stopped and I swerved. I don't think I crashed. It was cool. But I went back and it was like a full slushie. I was like, dude, that would have killed me. Would have sent a hole through my chest, man. But yeah, that was the only downside. And it was probably the only asshole that lived in Boise that I can remember. Some dude. Yeah, some dude with a slushie.
There's more now.
Yeah, that's what I heard.
Yeah, I mean, I actually don't go over there, but yeah.
Yeah, I wouldn't either. But I'm trying to think. Man, there were a lot of things on that road. I remember I used to ride my bike to drum lessons on that road. There was a library at the top of the hill.
Yep.
No, that hill's brutal. Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah, it's fun.
First gear all the way. Yeah.
I used to ride my bike so when I lived on State Street, I would ride my bike up Veterans and up that hill.
Yeah.
You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
On Veterans. That one sucked. That one,
like
riding your bike up that.
Yeah, that one's really long too, isn't it?
It's really long.
Yeah.
It sucks real bad. You'll see people, if you drive, you'll see people walking their bike.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's just kind of fucking like, I don't want to do this. But I would push myself. I'd be like, I would usually wake up super late, smoke a bunch of weed, ride my bike to school, and I would like do it to punish myself, I think, a little bit.
Yeah.
And because I went to junior high west, but because I didn't want to transfer to different schools, I wanted to keep going to the same school.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, so I kept going to west, and so I had to go up that hill. So I'd ride my bike, right?
Mhm.
And then I would go work in the cafeteria for lunch, and then I would get free lunches that way. And they would let me have kind of as much as you want. And
Yeah.
so I would
Nice.
just have like the munchies, and I would just eat a bunch of fucking food. And then I would go to theater class, and then I would go back home.
You had a theater class?
Because a girl I liked was in it.
Okay.
Yeah.
I was gonna say.
Yeah, I was obsessed with her for like a year. And it was like this whole sad thing. And she knew that I was obsessed with her and stuff.
Oh, that sounds tragic.
But she was like my friend, so she wanted to be nice. You know what I mean?
Yeah, we all had one.
Yeah.
Or two.
Yeah. That was a crappy year.
Yeah. And well, let's not harp back on. That's enough about Boise's landscape, I think. But yeah. But back to Tony Hawk.
Oh yeah.
No, actually, I don't even know what I'm going to say. I do remember that was one of those games where, well, that whole series, it was like, have you seen interviews with Tony Hawk talking about when they were putting out that game?
Mm-mm.
And they were coming up with the idea. He was actually like, well, I mean, maybe it sounds weird that I'm so surprised that how involved he was with the process. Because nowadays it's kind of, you just give someone an IP, they'll make a game out of it, whatever, But no, dude, he was like invested, and it really was like the first of that style of game of its kind, right? Because you had arcade like timed games like Crazy Taxi and stuff like that. It was still kind of pulling from some of those things, like a 2-minute run clock and all that. But everything else about it was just so different.
Well, whoever the game devs were, they did a really, really good job at like making it feel like you were skateboarding.
Yeah.
Like doing all those tricks, that's crazy hard.
Oh yeah.
You know what I mean? Like you land it correctly. I guess it's just animations mostly, but like the landing feels like you're doing, it feels like kind of like the physics feels really good, right?
Yeah.
And it's
yeah, that's right. Because if you didn't land perfect, it'd be like a sloppy landing, and then you go, whoa, yeah. Fuck no, the sound design's great, dude. Like all the that's probably what I think. That's probably what made games so good back in the day, was just those little tiny like nuances that they would just fill in the gaps that you wouldn't even think about. Also the soundtrack, dude. Oh my god, the best soundtrack I ever heard growing up.
All the songs memorized now. Like I can't rattle them off right now, but I have it's the new soundtrack, but some of the old songs are on there. A lot of, I don't know, there's a mix, but it's like a mix of old and new. Yeah.
Oh no, dude, I could still walk up to a buddy that I haven't talked to in like 20 years, like running inside Cologne, and just be like, what?
I don't know. I don't know the words.
Nobody does, but you know the vibe,
No, I hear it all the time. Yeah. I hear it every day now. For like the last 2 months.
And making me starting to want to play it.
Yeah, you should get Tony Hawk 1+2 is what it's called. Yeah. And it's fun. You have new characters. There's a lot of new stuff. It doesn't look like the old game. The levels look the same, but they look like with modern graphics. But it feels like the old game did.
Nice. Oh, yeah. That was another thing I was gonna say. Because you were talking about like unlocks and stuff, when we were talking about achievements. I miss games so much that had unlockable like characters or weapons or whatever. And they still make them nowadays. Like I'm a big fan of like. Do you know what roguelike games are?
Yeah. I mean, what's funny is like, so I hear it all the time, and I hear people watch videos, people talk about it or whatever. I really don't know exactly what they're saying. Like I get that, like the vibe of it, but literally I couldn't define it.
It also doesn't help that they apparently differentiate between roguelikes and roguelites, which
roguelite, like light.
Yeah, I don't know what the hell that is.
Yeah.
so I'm just going to talk about it as if they're one thing. But from what I understand, it's just it's like you just have a checklist of things, right? Like permadeath, unlockable stuff, randomized every time, right? So it's like replayability through RNG, basically.
Yeah.
Right?
What's
like,
RNG?
Random number generators. Just
okay.
Yeah, it's just what people say to describe randomness in a game.
Yeah.
But yeah, there's a lot of there were a lot of really big ones. Like what was it? You ever hear of The Binding of Isaac?
No.
It's a it's a weird game. But it's a really good example of a roguelike where it's like very simple. You just go room to room, different enemy types, different layouts for the floor that you don't know ahead of time, that kind of stuff. I'm a big fan of those games because of the replayability. And you can pick it up, you can drop it whenever you want. It's like because you're probably gonna die in X amount of rooms or X amount of levels or whatever.
Yeah.
And then they have like perma upgrade like buffs that can transfer between play sessions or unlock new characters or weapon types or whatever. So yeah, that kind of stuff I love. In fact, the game that I was trying to make is a roguelike, I guess.
Yeah.
I'm never gonna finish it, but
where are you at on it?
I've got the core loop kind of generated. You know me, I tend to fixate too much on like specifics and stuff.
Yeah.
So I made a loot drop system I made a mission generator system that was randomized, and everything's put away into different database tables and everything. And there's RNG engines that pull everything together and then, give appropriate tiers of loot depending on, enemy types, and enemies that are pulled into a mission will have like certain buffs or debuffs to meet a certain kind of level range that you're looking for.
Yeah.
And there's that. It's basically it's like a guild master simulator, I guess, where it's like you just have different parties of heroes that you send off on different mission sets and stuff. Yeah. And I was
Do you
like,
play as them or you just play as the guild master?
Just the dude at the desk.
Okay.
And so I integrated another viewport that you can cycle between different missions that are currently out, and you can there's some limited actions that you can take. If like there's a captain assigned to the party, then you can
it's like Football Manager for fantasy.
Yeah, kind of.
Yeah.
And but anyway, so like there's all that going on. There's upgrades that you can do for the guild hall and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But so I got about that far to where like proof of concept's pretty much done. Created very few original assets. Like like the only enemy that I've actually got in that I made was a little slime. And he's a good looking slime, but that's about the extent of my pixel art abilities. So but no, I'm just not gonna finish it anytime soon, at least. Just because I just don't have the time to work on it. But yeah. I probably have to hire an artist and then sound design and all that. I mean, I could make it a shitty game really quick, But yeah. How's is Eli? Yeah, is Eli still working on it? Bitch, it is Jaden. I know that because he's older. He's working on
13. Yeah, Eli's 8 and doesn't really do any of that yet. Jaden's learning how to make games now. We have a new approach to learning how to make games now. Or learning how, I'm developing a new learning methodology now. And so he's been approaching it differently, and it's going pretty well. And he's making good progress on creating games himself. Do you want to hear what the methodology is?
Yeah, I'm curious.
Well, I've talked about it before, but one of the issues was we were trying to make games, and I was letting him use AI to help him, right? And he was able to do all kinds of stuff and get things working pretty quickly. And so he made like some platforming stuff with characters, and he had all this stuff in Godot, right?
Yeah.
Which seems nice, right? But then when it's like, okay, but now we need to change this. Let's change that. You can't do it, right? He has to get the AI to do it because he doesn't understand how it works, right?
Yeah.
And so, okay, well, we went to, this isn't going to work because you can't actually, if this was an AI integrated tool set that let you do things in this really simple no code way, that would work. But this isn't the current, this isn't how it works right now. So,
yeah.
We went away from that. We were like, only ask them questions, right? Don't have them write any code for you. Unfortunately, what's going to happen is he's outcome oriented. So he wants the outcome of having a game and he thinks that's the goal. He feels like that's the goal. The goal is to have this game. I shouldn't feel suffering when I'm trying to make this. I shouldn't feel uncomfortable. I shouldn't feel like this is too challenging. I want the game. So I'll just get the AI knows how to make the game. You know what I mean? And so you get all the reward and none of the risk, right?
Yeah.
And so we found pretty quickly that wouldn't work either, right? Because then I was like, okay, well, what's this mean right there? And he couldn't tell me. And I'm like, okay, so you're getting all this from the AI? And he's like, yeah. I'm like, okay. It's the same thing as when you were copying and pasting everything. So we just realized that, and then I tried to scale that back. And they're like, okay, only ask very specific things to the AI. Only do, you know what I mean? And that way, because AIs are such a valuable source of information, it's like you can talk to a book that you can change how the book is speaking back to you.
Yeah.
That's actually how I see them now.
Yeah.
And I'll give more context on that, but that's what, so I'm like, how can I just take this resource away from them? But then I spent a bunch of time like thinking about it, and I already know like essentially how you should, or not should, but there are a lot of different useful ways of designing learning, right? And I've been doing it for a long time. And so I was like, okay, what you need to do is what you want to do is have very clear, manageable tasks that are challenging enough that you're actively engaging with them. And this is sort of when I started coming up with this realization that, oh my God, everything is about having this internal model. Not model. I don't even like that language. So the reason I don't like that language, it has nothing to do with anything that you would know about, but like there's theories on how the brain and cognition works, and I don't like any of those. And so
if you say model enough times in a row, though, we might pick up the AI fucking algorithm. So yeah, go for it. Dude.
That's true, actually. Yeah. But it's like the internal imaginative mind space, right? It's your imagination. It's literally your imagination, right? Mm-hmm. Your intuition, your imaginative, intuitive, internal experience of your own mind space, right? It's literally that. And then it's contrasted against your experience of the external world, right? And so you're at this boundary point, this very blurry but precise boundary point between these two things. That's how you feel in general. If you just close your eyes, you feel like you have this internal world, right? Same with the external world, right? You open your eyes, you feel like you have this external world, right? Yep. So you're at this boundary between these two places. And you are sort of this important thing in some way. And a part of what I think we are actually really driving to do is to cultivate this inner space and have it contrasted and interacted with and create different relationships with the felt external world. And so there's this back and forth, right, between these two things. And I started taking that as like, so my ontology would already have said that, right, in some sense, right, but not articulated in that way because that's not necessarily an idea that I've seen before. But then I'm like, so I test that a lot, and I'm like, okay, I know I was going to say, here's what he's doing, and then I go off completely into like,
no. I feel it circling back. I can see the start point, man.
So the whole gist is that like I've made sure that this was something that's like I can verify with my own. Like I'm contrasting it against this external world. Does this actually work? Is this what people have done? And if you look at anybody at any point in time that made any great achievement, they were very, very good with their imagination. They mostly don't say that word, right? Einstein did, but most of them don't. But all of them speak about it in different ways, right? And I started realizing that I think the reason that we think like some kid is like some math prodigy or something like that is they have this really highly active and well contrasted against the external sense of imagination. And they can do these mathematical things very easily for themselves, right? And we're like, oh, that's amazing. But all it really is something that we can already do that we're just not even fully aware that we're doing that, right? And so I'm like, and I look into all these different areas and I see all these different experts doing different things. And I'm like, okay, well, this is it. It agrees with my ontology. It makes a lot of sense from a practical sense, right? And so how do we do this? Well, the main issue here is that he had none of that with the AI doing this for him, right? He only had the ideas in his mind about like what he wanted, right? And he's trying to interact with the AI to get that to come out. He didn't actually learn how to interact with the world to create it, right? So there's no contrast. There's no real contrast. It's more of like making a wish and hoping it comes true. And so one catch is like you can live entirely in the inner world, right? And there's no contrast, and that's fantasy, that's delusion, that's paranoia, that's all these things, right? But when you start interplaying between the two, that's when these things start to become different. You get someone like Elon Musk, right? You see, there's a difference between like living in fantasy and having an imagination, right? Elon Musk believed he was going to Mars, but he let the world, he interacted with the world to let the world tell him how, right? And that's sort of what I'm getting at. So anyways, I'm like, okay, how do we do this with computer programming? He has to have this large space, this cultivated garden of programming in his mind, right? You have to. That's it. And so a large part of that is memory, right? But it's tactile felt memory. It's not, I remember words and I can recite those words. I can recall these things. I would call that something more like recall, where you're just remembering a bunch of things. Like it's not different than memorizing a bunch of numbers in a row, right?
Sure.
Whereas like what I'm saying is you have a very strong felt sense of like what something is, and you know what it is. You feel like this tape, like I haven't playing with tape, sorry, but like you have this thing. I know what this feels like. I know how it works. I know. So I have a lot of felt internal things related to this thing, right? And so like I don't have to like, so when I imagine it, I can imagine it really well, right? And so you need to do that with everything else, right? So how do you do that? It's you have some task, you have to try to accomplish it. It has to be within your grasp to try, right? Maybe a bit challenging to complete, and then be asked to change that, because now you have to start building out things around it, right? And you have to say like something that wasn't necessarily in your awareness, like, oh, what was this variable? Like I actually didn't know, because like a part of it is copying, right? Like you don't try to have someone learn Spanish by having them guess, right?
Right. Yeah.
So they need enough information to do it, right? And so it's a little bit, there is copying, right? But then it's like, hey, change that thing. What's going to happen? And they have to learn, right? And so they start changing it. And then you take it all away, now do it all again from memory. And it's not going to work, and that's fine. And now go back and look, and what did you miss? What wasn't working? And then error correct it yourself, right? And now they know how to troubleshoot what they just did. And they understand everything that happened from memory and how to change it, right? Yep. And then now go ahead and move on, right? And then you just keep doing that, and you keep doing that. And at the beginning of every day, he literally types out each task that he's already done from memory completely, every single day from scratch, right? And they all have to work, right?
Probably better at it than I am there.
Well, and it's raw C code. It's raw C++ code. So,
he's doing it in, is it C++ or C Sharp?
C++. I know we picked C++. I know C++, so that's why we started there.
That's good. Oh, well, I was going to say that's, if I could do it all again, because I do love GD script, but yeah, if I could do it all again, I would rather do it all in C code. I mean, C++, you know? Yeah, 100%. Because, well, it's more valuable, one thing. But but it's also just better. It runs faster. It's, everything about it's better, pretty much. So,
yeah, the reason we started there was because I feel like Godot was too much, and it's already kind of doing too much for him.
Yeah.
He doesn't understand why, and that's an important part. And so what we're going to do is work up to Pong, right? And he's he has several tasks to get basically to the end of Pong, right?
Sure.
And then by the end of it, he's going to be able to make anybody the game of Pong in raw C++. Well, he's using one library. He's using Raylib library, which is to make games because, so it's not raw. There is some libraries he's using, right? But it's still C++. So he's doing that in C++. By the end of it, the goal is he can do Pong from memory and change anything about the game that you want. The color scheme, the boundaries, the borders, the way the ball moves, how fast it's going, all that stuff. Maybe create an AI. And he could do that from memory, right? Which now he has like a sense of this space. And now he has that in his mind. It exists in there, right?
Yeah.
And it's been contrasted and it works for sure. This is why programming is great, because it gives you immediate feedback on whether or not something's working, right?
True.
You know what I mean?
So
and
true.
So you can I just see it like you're taking this thing and you're kind of pushing it onto the world and saying, what's going to happen now? You know what I mean? Yeah. And then you want to keep that feedback loop, right? And then you kind of just keep going and going, and then you cultivate your own intuition. So after Pong, we're probably going to move on to a different type of game. I think I want him to build his own physics engine in C++ code. And then
straight off the rip?
Yeah. I mean, eventually he'll be able to do most of that from memory right away, right?
Yeah.
But like in the beginning, this is probably think years, not days, or you got to take time, right? It's not time is irrelevant. How many days this takes? It's like
I thought you meant like next thing before you touch anything else. You're gonna code your own physics engine.
Well, half of it is like that Pong game. You've already made a physics engine, right? You have a working, very simple physics engine, right?
Yeah.
But no, like maybe like a little particle sim or something, like something where he can make things and they start bouncing around, right? And then maybe what I want to do is actually get him to touch some GPU shader stuff, right?
Yeah. Where get him on that early. Seriously. Yeah. Because everybody.
I mean, like, look. Here's what the end goal is that this, like, he's gonna be able to look at a simple game, and then be able to make his own copy of it from memory immediately, right then and there, and then change whatever he wants about it, because his intuition is going to be so strong on like what he thinks they're probably doing, and also he has tried to do this 100 different times that he has a really good sense of like how to do this, and then he can make any game he wants. And also, but we're going to move.
Also, you'll be more surprised when you see something that you don't know how they did it, and you're like, whoa. Hold up. Drop everything, dude. Hold the phone. I gotta.
How the fuck did they do that? But you just build it out, though, right? And and so that's the core thing. It's not necessarily the case that you have to So I'm just getting I'm thinking now that maybe if somebody listened to that, they would think that I'm saying you only move forward like a little bit and you never move into an unknown area. And I'm actually saying the opposite. So everything he does is sort of an unknown area, right? And so it's not necessarily the case that you have to learn every single detail of everything, but you do need to make this internal space have a map of the external, right? So you kind of need to feel out how things. So and we're not going to stay in C++. Probably next is C#.
Yeah,
but I don't know C#, so I couldn't help in the beginning there, right?
I mean, I feel like if you know C++, I
actually have no clue if they're the same or different.
I might just be confusing those with C to C++, but I'm pretty sure that you can use C++ code in C#, just like how you can use C code in C++. I'm pretty sure. I mean, it's just two more plus signs. Fucking, right? It's just more. It's not less.
So he'll be pretty good at that, right?
Yeah.
And then at some point, we'll transition back to Godot or something like that, or whatever he wants to do. It doesn't really matter at that point. If he can make Mario, it doesn't really just do whatever, bro. And then broaden out, and then but this is the idea, right? And Vanessa's doing the same thing with writing, completely different subject, completely different, but the core theme is the same. And it's this, did I tell you what she was doing?
Yeah. I think last week you said you were having her go through, I don't remember if you said it was scenes in films or if it's scenes in books, but okay. And then rewriting it from memory, thinking about all these different factors and stage direction and, well, not that,
right.
But yeah. Or maybe
you take a different perspective. You write it with different constraints, right? And that's just
Yeah.
to make you creatively flexible. So it's the same thing that Jaden is doing, where Jaden is given this program, right? So a part of that is making that work, number one. Number two, it's like changing things about it, right?
Mm.
And so now trying to get some behavior, and you're not exactly sure how to do that, right?
Yeah.
But you do that. And so it's the same thing with the writing. And so the goal there would be, I watch a movie and I can write the screenplay in a day or two or
Yeah.
whatever, or I read a book and then I can make a similar themed and similar sounding book. And not to copy these people, but a lot of it is copying. And here's the reason why that's important, because if you don't have anything to contrast against, then you are now in a completely new, untouched area, right? And so if that's where you are, then it's a completely different game. This is meant for someone to learn something that already exists, right? And you really can't get to those boundaries without having learned everything that kind of leads up to it, right?
Yeah.
And so at that point, you're kind of making up the game. And if you look at people who push boundaries, there's so you can say things like, oh, if you looked at like Kurt Cobain or something like that, who pushed the boundary and created a new genre of music or whatever, right? Which is arguable, but like so you might use him as an example. Like he didn't learn how to do any of this kind of classical stuff, right? Or like he couldn't read and write music, for example, is what I'm trying to say, right? And so you're like, well, so why didn't he have to do it like that? Well, first of all, he could play things by ear, like 100%. Like he could listen to something and play it. You know what I mean? And he was good at that. And he did that constantly. And so I would say what he's actually doing is what I'm suggesting, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so he did this in his own way. And I think all experts do this in their own way. And if you look at, I actually did this deep dive into any subject area that I could think of and look at the best performers. And they all, almost always, as children, were doing this sort of copying game where they have something they like, they try to copy it. And they're contrasting what they're doing imaginatively against their external idea of what that should have been, right? And it's not like you need to idolize things, but you kind of learn taste. You learn this is what quality feels like. This is what good music feels like because you felt it, but then also like you can kind of see where you sit. You get feedback, right? Between here and here. And so you want to tighten and explore and expand these loops, and you want to grow all of this stuff. And so it really is a lot to do. I don't even like saying memory because I think people, when they think of memory, like when I think of memory, I'm thinking of like somebody who can remember a lot of different things, right?
Yeah.
But that's a consequence almost always of someone who really enjoys something.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
It's an interesting, I don't know, it made me think about three kind of eras. You were talking about music, so I'm curious about that. Because at first I was thinking like, oh yeah, I remember any like bluegrass player that I know would always talk about how they'd stay up, or actually most musicians that I knew back in the day, they'd be like, oh yeah, just stay up all the time, listen to this record, trying to figure out how to play it, how to sound like them, right?
Mm-hmm.
That got me thinking that also most of the people I know that grew up listening to recordings hit a point in their life where I felt like I did the same thing at one point, where it was just like it was really hard to find your own kind of style or identity. You can sound really good in this established framework. You have a really hard time kind of breaking out. You start looking for other influences to bring into your playing and then evolve. But it's very like intentional and it's very heady. That got me thinking, I think the reason we had so many different genres kind of blow up in a relatively short time, I think was originally because, when people would start touring and music would be produced at a location for a new audience, and it's like, well, you get to hear it one time, and you get to try and remember what that sounds like, and you go back and you try to recreate it, and then so you end up just getting this kind of wholly different style of music as opposed to back, where you would have like your own group of people, your own tribe or community, and you would just play music together all the time. So you all were very good at that kind of music. It didn't really change all that much. And then, I think once music started traveling, you'd start getting these just a lot of ideas coming in where people would try to recreate it, but they couldn't. And then once recordings came out, I feel like is where we started slowing down again. And there's been, well, I'll say the acceleration of that kind of curve started evening out, because now you get people that can kind of act like they used to, where you'd be in a community of people that all played the same music over and over again, you know? And so you can kind of be locked into that, but you also have access to all this other music, right? So it's kind of like, how do you pick and choose and how do you integrate? I don't know. It's just a very unique stream that music specifically, I think, is taken. Probably the other arts too, probably writing and film and all that. But yeah, I don't know if any of that's a valid point, but
no, I like it. So it's making me think of like what I would do. So so the way I took all of that was that you just proposed a problem to me where musicians get tired of playing the same kinds of, they can copy someone really well, but they're like, I don't know what my own sound is, you know?
Yeah. Well, it was like an interview I was watching with Billy Strings the other day, and it was just like talking about how, yeah, you know, and so many of them have this problem where they just get into kind of this rut and they feel like nothing they can produce is original or creative, you know, and then they start, almost always they start bringing in old jazz ideas almost every time. But yeah,
I can think of like several exercises right now that I think would probably help a lot, and none of them would actually like work towards an ends, but it would get the person probably to come out of that and start coming up with their own ideas. But like for example, all right, if they're really good at playing things by ear, right, and so that's already the thing, and they can already play this guy really well by ear, they can just hear a song, they know how to play it. I would be like, one example would be play that same song but use completely different notes.
Yeah,
like you cannot use any of the notes that are in that song and play the same song.
That's I said yeah, like I knew what the hell that would sound like.
You have a clue, right? That would be very hard. How do you make something feel like it's the same song without using those notes?
It would probably need a little tweak on the well, I mean, just mechanically.
So you're already thinking of how you might try to do
it. I don't think it's possible though. This is the only problem.
You don't, but does it matter?
No, I guess not.
No, it wouldn't matter at all. Whatever you came up with is fine. Or more or less, right? As long as you're trying to get this feel, right? A similar feel. It doesn't have to be the same. You could pick a different key and then pick slightly different notes, but maybe like it would be like a good accompanying chord or something like that. I'm not a musician at all. That's an idea. And then I would also like say, take that song and make it sound like whoever else, you know, someone from a different style completely. Make it sound like them.
Oh yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then maybe they're like, well, I don't know how to play like that. Well, good, learn. And then do that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Yeah. And then what happens is you get them playing enough, and none of those games matter. It's like you get them doing that enough. If the problem is creativity, in my mind, if you get them doing enough different things, they're eventually going to say, I actually prefer this. And then they're like, oh, wait, maybe that's, you know what I mean? And now you found a preference, right? And then you kind of can craft your own thing. Yeah, but it's not like, I'm not saying any of those would work. I'm not a musician or anything, but like,
yeah, it's fine.
I guarantee you that if somebody who really loved playing music, if they committed to trying something like that, like we sat down and I was like, I'm just going to give you 4 ideas and I want you to try all of them. I guarantee you that would probably help break them through some rut that they felt like they were in, at least momentarily. Yeah. Right. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because like,
I imagine it's probably hard for
me. Probably be like, how the fuck am I supposed to play that fucking song without using the?
Are you a fucking idiot? Yeah. No. And I imagine it's probably a lot harder too for a touring musician that has to play the same songs like every night for a year straight. You know,
right?
Imagine that's probably mind numbing. Well, I don't know, but you also hear about people that like they love it. You know,
right.
They're like, I'm locked into this. I found my thing, and I want to do it every single day of my life. You know?
Yeah. Or like try the opposite. So whatever that song feels like, make a song that does the exact opposite.
Sorry,
makes you feel the exact opposite of whatever that song made you just feel.
Yeah.
Like if it makes you feel excited, make me a song that's going to make me feel very sad.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Yeah. But you know, and just keep doing stuff like that. Like just that's what I would think. I bet you that would be helpful. Yeah, I think, so I'm trying to develop this method. I already have a sense, like if you gave me a subject, I could probably like figure something out.
Yeah.
But what I'm trying to do now is be a little more like meta about it, and like the problem is that you don't want to make a bunch of rules to follow. As soon as you do that, you're immediately going to lose what the point is. And so it's more of like an approach to take and to iterate on itself, right? So if you're like, oh, I have to make some task, sometimes you want to kind of not have a clear idea about what's going to happen, right? And that's okay sometimes. Not all. I think a lot of the time it's better to have some kind of idea that you're working towards, but sometimes there needs to be a little randomness going on, right?
Yeah.
I think that's totally fine. Spontaneity and kind of like, so it's like the free play of all of it should be play, but then there's like sometimes where you're playing and you're not actually thinking about what you're doing, right?
Yeah.
And that's important too. So it's like you want to incorporate all of it. So I don't want like a list of rules. These are more of like, I guess probably something more like a heuristic or something. And these are like ideas that you could use, about learning. And I would like to make something that was useful to my goal. My goal would be is that any person could learn anything that they wanted in a very practical and meaningful way that was like in line with who they are and what they want,
Yeah.
Like a tool that could be useful.
A framework.
Yeah, a framework without it being like a dogma, like where people think that that's how you're supposed to learn or something. That's
sorry about that. We've been keeping our dog inside because they're doing controlled burns outside. So the whole sky is just filled with smoke.
Yeah.
And so, but I got the wife on it. No problem. You should try it, man. It's super handy.
Get a wife? Yeah.
Yeah. Just to take care of the dog. Yeah. But yeah. So well, that's good. That's cool. I'm trying to think. Damn. You made me start wanting to like make another GitHub and just make a bunch of just like simple games, and I'd probably try to do it in just C++ probably be the good one. Wouldn't want to do raw C. That'd be crazy.
Yeah, I mean, it's sort of what do you want out of it,
Yeah, but no, it's good to have a portfolio anyway. Like if he keeps doing this, if he joins any projects or in the future ever wants to like hop on a project or do something, he's gonna have a whole library of examples that you could just post up on a GitHub
or just like sit there in front of them and code up a game right then and there.
Well, if you can get in front of them. It's 2026, man. Nobody does stuff in person anymore.
Oh yeah, or make his own game.
Yeah, just make your own.
I mean, but so what are the first real benchmark? We're trying to make a game for that was the original intent behind it, right? So he's going to make a game. Vanessa's writing the story. He's going to make the game. But we got sidetracked because we realized that nobody really knows how to do any of it, and so we kind of have to learn how to do that first, right?
Yeah.
But make a game. I'm like, so sorry, I have to get my charger really quick. My laptop's dying.
Good.
So when I did my master's thesis, I had to completely understand all of it. You know what I mean? Like every detail of all of it. And I did. And I could tell you all of the things about the simulation software. Oh, where is the freaking? There we go. And I was like, oh wait, I had a complete map of everything in my mind, right? Like I knew, and when there was a problem, I knew where it was, I could feel where it was, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'm like, it's probably over here. I know that. Yeah. Oh shit. Okay. I did it again, and it was always like that, right? There was never a big surprise. Oh, I don't know what the fuck this is. That had all happened already, you know?
Yeah.
And I could from scratch write the entire program. Now, not completely from memory. But I could do it, right? And then I realized that, if I wanted to be a beast, right? I'm just a fucking coding simulation beast. I can just write all that myself, right? And I'm like, well, that is what the people who made it can do, right? And I'm like, okay, I'm like, yeah, okay, this is how it works. This is how it works. And I'm like, so if this is true, then we should see issues with using AI to write code. And so then I'm like, are there issues with people using AI to write code? Like, because I thought it was helpful, right? And what's up? Thank you, sir. Give me a few more minutes, okay? We have a classic movie night. We were supposed to do it on Friday, but then we ended up watching the show. But because we do movie night Fridays, and the March is all classic movies. So we're watching 12 Angry Men tonight. Yeah.
All right.
We watched North by Northwest last week.
I never even heard of that. No.
Oh, it's great. Alfred Hitchcock. It's like the first kind of James Bond. It's not James Bond, but it is like it started the whole thing. Like it started the whole spy. He's not a spy. He was actually a guy who just gets caught up in this crazy thing. But it like had all of it had the formula for James Bond movies. You know, you had the femme fatale kind of girl. You had the, exotic scene, exotic location kind of thing. You had the rich bad guy, right?
Yeah.
It was the whole formula for the Bond movie before the Bond movies. And it's Alfred Hitchcock's one of his good
North
movies.
by Northwest. Huh.
Yeah. Rear Window, we watched before that.
Yes. I saw that one in school, actually.
Yeah, it's a really good one.
Yeah, it's good.
Yeah, really great. I mean, he's one of the best storytellers of all time. So
yeah, it was pretty good. Yeah,
can't really beat him. But 12 Angry Men is a good one. I think I like the one location idea because it allows for children to pay attention. So Eli's 8, right? And so it can, if the plot's too confusing, he'll lose interest. If there's not enough action or if it's too confusing, kids lose interest really quickly. But one location, it's intent. If the movie's done well enough, so like Rear Window was all one location, but it was intense enough. The thickness of the plot was tense enough for him to pay attention, right? North by Northwest, there was enough things interesting enough to watch that he's paid attention, right? And so I'm kind of hoping 12 Angry Men will be tense enough for him to feel the emotion of the room. And we'll see.
Yeah. Let me know how that goes. Because I'm also trying to get my... well, not the same. Because it's black and white, right?
We're going to watch the color version.
Oh, okay.
I think they did shoot it in Technicolor. I'm actually not sure. I need to check.
Got you. Okay. I feel like there's a lot of people on kind of a mission to expose people to older great movies right now. Like ones from back then. That's older than I was thinking about. I know last week I finally got my wife to watch the second Lord of the Rings movie. The Two Towers. And that was great. It's fantastic. I haven't tried to break the gap into black and white because I think there's just no way. I just don't think it's going to happen. Mostly because of the acting style, not because of like how it looks, But
you guys, can you quiet down, please? Did you hear him say yeah?
Did he? No, I didn't hear that.
He's like, yes.
Oh, put that boy in the army. Yeah. That'd be great.
Pick. So if a good story is a good story, right?
Yep.
And it, that's what I've noticed. And so that was like it was actually a lot of to do with like Vanessa and her writing and stuff. And so we're like, let's get some like good quality storytelling going on.
Yeah.
Go back to the originals. I mean, we're talking like there's thousands of years of storytelling before that, but the original movie maker, like Hitchcock is one of the best, right? And Rear Window is tense enough to keep you paying attention, right? And it's not confusing. I wanted to do so don't pick Gone with the Wind if she doesn't like, because it's a 3-hour movie and it takes a lot of, it's a good movie, but it's hard to focus. Pick more action-y things or like things that are more engaging or emotionally tense. And so Hitchcock is perfect because he's the master of tension, right?
Yeah.
And that's his whole thing. So pick some of those movies. She'll probably like that.
It's a good idea. Good idea. It's funny you say Gone with the Wind. That is actually the one movie that she loves from that era.
She loves it?
Yeah.
Oh,
that's the only one.
She'll watch any because they're all kind of boring like that.
Yeah, exactly.
I actually don't like it because I find it boring. But
yeah. No, I do too, and I think that's why she likes it. No, honestly, I think it's because what was the name of the main actress in that? I don't know.
I
Was
don't
that
know.
Hepburn? It wasn't Audrey Hepburn.
Yeah, probably something like that.
Oh,
Gary
it was
or no? Shit, I don't
one of
know.
those.
Man.
Gary. Were you about to say Gary Sinise?
No, Gary. What's the guy's name? Like, isn't it Gary something?
Gary. I don't know which guy you're talking about.
One of the Gary Cary Grant. Cary Grant.
Cary Grant.
Hold on, Cary.
I'm the wrong person to ask about this. I do not know any famous people.
Cary Grant. Yeah, was he in Gone with the Wind?
Sounds like a new name. Cary Grant. No.
Famous. Not in Gone with the Wind, but he is an old actor. Okay. So I'm just remembering. Oh, he's in Hitchcock's movies. That's probably why.
Okay.
Oh, he's in North by Northwest. He's the main actor. That's why I'm thinking of Cary.
The movie that you just watched.
He's the main character of the movie. Yeah, we just watched.
Okay.
Yeah. To Kill a Mockingbird, we're gonna do next week.
I never saw the movie. I remember I loved the book. It was a great book. Well, there's another book that they had us read in school, but it's a good choice,
Yeah.
Have they read the book?
No, I don't think so.
No. Okay.
Vanessa's reading Jane Austen, Sense and Sensibility right now. And Jaden's still kind of working. He every now and then he reads a little bit of Harry Potter.
Are all of Jane Austen's book like blank and blank?
2 of them are. I mean, Pride and Prejudice, Sense and Sensibility.
Yeah.
I mean, the other ones I know too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that's who she is in my mind now. So
yeah.
And she was successful. So
yeah, but give the classic movies a shot. And honestly, I haven't seen a lot. Like I've seen 12 Angry Men, and I had seen Rear Window at some point a long time ago, but I hadn't seen North by Northwest,
Yeah.
So I was like, okay, yeah, let's get some good storytelling going on. The contrast, right?
Yeah, totally. I was gonna say a departure from that. I'm also trying to get her to watch Young Frankenstein at some point.
Oh, okay, I've never seen it. Is that the comedy with
with Mel Brooks? Yeah. And
what's the guy from Willy Wonka?
Yeah, I love him so much. I always forget his name. Gene Wilder. Yeah. That was it. Yeah.
That came from the ether.
Oh, I thought you looked it up.
No, I brought it. I was just like, I didn't have it. I didn't have Gene Wilder in my mind. It just I just started saying it and it came out right.
No, dude. I feel like that's every time I remember his name. That's exactly how it goes.
He was great, dude.
Oh, yeah.
Willy Wonka was fucking funny.
Most remarkable blue eyes, too, that I've ever seen. Anything, even in black and white. Dude, you could tell. You're like, there's something about it. But
yeah, he was good. You know, he said he wasn't going to do the Willy Wonka movie if they weren't going to let him do that tumble in the beginning.
Really?
Yeah. He goes, you have to let me do that or I'm not going to do
it. What a hill to die on, dude. Good for him.
Yeah. That was great, though. He says it's because it tells the entire audience that this guy is going to trick you.
Fair enough.
And it lets you know right immediately that he's not all that it seems. And he had a really good reason for it. So that's a little short. Yeah. I like that stuff. Yeah. So they didn't have as many resources. And so all of these people had better, maybe not always better. That's not the right word, but they tended to have these really large and robust senses of what they were doing because there wasn't as much to cover things. So like VFX, this is why some people say the VFX used to be better, right? Because they had to be a lot more creative and it was all a lot harder. And so they were usually way more careful and thoughtful and had, in my perspective would be they have these really amazing cultivated imaginations, right? That have been contrasted very carefully against the world. And so they just have more to draw from and to do things with. And so actors included, right? Because now modern actors, I think, I'm not saying it's easy to be an actor and I have no idea, but it just seems like there's a difference between first of all, there's way more, right? And I think, so in that sense, it is easier to become an actor now than it was back then, right?
Yeah.
Just by pure numbers, right? And so the quality of what's expected from certain types of acting. I think it's different. And so someone like Gene Wilder would have had probably, I think it's probably harder, and you had to be more talented in that sense. Talented, like ability wise, not like innate. So I think it was just harder for him to get there. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And you can see that. Now, I'm not saying that today's actors aren't great. There's some amazing actors. Like I think some of the best actors of all time probably alive right now. But yeah. It's cool to see.
Yeah. No.
Well, I think we should.
Yeah. I was just gonna say I like that y'all have a movie night set, and I take all blame for time delays. And
no, you're good. We usually do it on Friday. Today, this week was like we saw a preview when we were looking for movies. Saw a preview of a funny show. Have you ever seen Jury Duty?
No.
Jury Duty was when they had it was all. There's only one guy who doesn't know that it's a show, right? And they're basically playing a prank on him the entire season of the show. It's like a week long, and it was Jury Duty, and like he thinks that it's just a documentary about jury duty, right?
Yeah.
And so he's like on the jury, and he has to do all, and like, but everybody else is an actor, and so they're putting him through all these like crazy situations, and they're just seeing how he acts.
Yeah.
It's really funny though, right? Well, they did another season now, but it's with like a company retreat. And so this guy gets hired for a fake company. It's not real, right? And he's like an HR assistant. And then they just keep putting him in all these crazy situations, and he thinks it's real with real people. And their actors act like real people all day long without the documentary crew even being there. So they have to keep pretending.
Yeah.
And they're all in one place together. So it's pretty crazy, right?
Oh, man.
Anyways, it's funny though, right? And so it's like, we saw that and we're like, oh shit, we're going to have to watch that now.
Yeah. Yeah. Hell, I might add that to my rotation, man. That sounds good.
Yeah. Watch the first season first. It's really funny.
Yeah.
It's pretty good. Yeah. It's like, it's hard to watch sometimes. You're like, oh God, are you gonna, oh no.
Oh yeah. No, I'm terrible with it. My wife loves it, but so I'll get her stamp of approval. We'll see. Oh, but okay. Well, you wanna call it?
That's good. I'm gonna